Hey guys, how y'all doing? Tyler Austin with MyGeekCentral.com. We are going to start setting up our pages now. In the last tutorial or lesson, we had just broken up our text. I kind of wish I never started off like that. I wish I would have started off like this to start with, but I did it and got to deal with it, right? So right now we're going to set up our header. And what we're going to do is we're going to just set up our pages. We'll do a little bit of CSS just to get the so y'all can see where everything is on the screen, but we're not going to actually get into the real detail to making the site pretty until really the very end of the tutorials or lessons. So to catch up, we got our header in here. Okay, we got our HTML. Now you noticed I actually took out everything else from header, from your closing of your head and below. Take everything out, okay? Because in our footer, and you might have already done this. I might have already had you do this. I don't remember. Is where it's going to close, because you got to remember where these other pages right here are other pages inside your website. Okay, so the actual content and the structure is going to be from your header down to your footer, and then everything within the page is going to be within each individual page. Okay, and we're just going to reference these to each other. Okay, just like we did, I think I seen it a second ago on our contact section. Okay, and I'll show you all that in I don't know, probably around 3 tutorials from now. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's set up our header page. Okay, then I'm going to stop this tutorial and I'm going to make another one pretty much right after I get done this one. I just don't want to make them too long, about setting up our footer page. Okay, and then after we get done the footer, then we're going to go back and we're going to make our navigation bar and our footer, our links to those. Okay, cool. So let's get to it. So after you've created your head, you've created your title of your page, you've linked it to your style sheet. Okay, you've closed your link, you've closed your head. Next, we're actually going to have our header. Okay, we're going to talk about divs. Divs are basically boxes. Okay, if you can imagine your screen being pretty much one big box on the page, if you use a div, you can break that box up into a bunch of different other boxes, kind of like a cube. Or if you've ever played that a Rubik's Cube, it's the same concept. Basically, you can use divs to make all the yellow side, all the blue side, to actually make the structure of your page. So right now we're going to make a div. We're going to call it header. You got to have quotes or else it won't complete it. Then we're going to close that div, and I'm sure you can assume that's going to be /div, just like everything else. Normally if you start with head, you're going to slash with head or close it with a head. So after our header, next would be our navigation bar, right? So div ID, and you can name these whatever you want. Okay, and I'll show you in a second here. The only reason you give them an ID, the ID has nothing to deal with your code. The only thing you got to worry about in your code is a div and actually giving it an ID. Okay? And I'll show you why. Because the only thing you use this ID for is in cascading style sheet. That's what you tell it to actually work with. Okay, that's whenever you make the actual border and the width of your pages, that div ID is just what you relate the style sheet to. Okay, so if I were to put this number sign, and for divs you always have to put a number signs, or I guess that's, I don't know if you want to call it a number sign or an icon, but anyway, that's it for now for that. So now we got our navigation, and that's all that's going to be on our header. Our header is going to be from our title to navigation. Our footer is just going to be the footer. Okay, and then our other individual pages are going to have all the body content. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this tutorial. We're up to 5 minutes, perfect. And I'm going to create another one, and that's going to start covering about doing the footer. And after we get the footer, then we're going to work on our style sheet a little bit, get a little definition on the page, and that'll be it for now. Cool. Be sure to watch the next video, subscribe, leave comments below, check out my website, mygeekcentral.com, and that's it.